Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Einstein, Steve Jobs, and your child's brain had a party? Welcome to the Neuroquirky Nexus, where we celebrate the extraordinary minds of our neurodiverse children. Welcome to you amazing parents and caregivers to this podcast. Here we are going to navigate the colorful world of neurodiversity, and we're going to explore holistic, out-of-the-box solutions for children and teens with ADHD, stress, anxiety, and other neuroquirks. Each week we'll dive into practical, brain-based techniques and quirky strategies to help your child thrive. I'm Lori Bloyer, a former veteran teacher turned holistic neurogrowth, learning, and life success coach. As a parent of a neurodiverse child myself, I've spent the last 20 years researching, experimenting, and developing unconventional approaches to support these unique minds. I myself have ADHD diagnosed later in life, and thank goodness, now I understand some of my neuroquirks, and I am going to give you, from my years of teaching in the classroom, my son and myself, several tips, tricks, strategies to help you and your child thrive and create peace at home and joy in your life. So, are you ready? Let's get quirky. Hello, and welcome back to episode 5 of our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to have you here. Today, we're going to continue our discussion that we started last week in episode 4. So obviously, if you didn't catch it, go check out that episode. We talked about defiance in your ADHD child or neurodivergent child and how to help with defiance. So we're going to pick up, we did 1 through 5 tips from my freebie that were basic tips in my free guide. But I wanted to go into more details in this podcast. So today we're going to hit on 6 through 10. So welcome aboard and let's get quirky. So number 6. It'd be really good if you are super clear about rules and consequences. Children with ADHD often struggle with impulsivity. Raise your hand if your child struggles with impulsivity. I know, I can see you. I can see you, believe it or not, through the power of some kind of new technology in podcasting. I can see you. Raise your hand. Yes. Impulsivity is a huge side of our children's ADHD. So it's crucial to be explicit about rules and consistent with consequences. Vague or complex instructions can be confusing for them. So keep rules simple and specific. For example, instead of saying behave, say keep your hands to yourself. Oh, we probably have said that before, haven't we? Additionally, the consequences should be immediate and clearly related to the behavior. For example, if a child refuses to clean up after playing, they may lose access to their toys for a short period. Consistent enforcement of these rules helps your child understand boundaries and predict the outcomes of their actions. And I know as parents that's hard, right? So they might have a meltdown because you say, keep your hands to yourself, or because you say you might have lost your toys for a little while. It's our job as parents to not be their friend, but to be their parent. And we have to hold those guidelines because at the end of the day, it creates peace in the house. It creates peace in your own body. It creates peace in their body. Children really need those boundaries in order to feel safe. They're looking for those boundaries. And if you don't set them, they will set them and it will be their rule against yours, which you're the adult. And so you'll have to take the lead there. So I strongly encourage you to set up those boundaries, set up those guidelines so that they can feel safe. So post rules, or you can say guidelines visually in key places in your home, such as you could do a chore chart on the fridge, or a list of expected behaviors on the door, or even pictures if they can't read yet. And use positive language when possible. Of course, we don't want to be, we want our home to be a loving, nurturing place, not a rule zone place, whatever that place is. So use kind words instead of don't yell, could be an example of a positive statement. So really looking for those guidelines and how you can set your household up for success using those guidelines rather than the child stating their guidelines. So number 7, play before punishing. Building a strong, positive relationship with your child is key to reducing defiant behavior. Engaging in fun, stress-free activities with your child strengthens the bond between you and makes them more likely to cooperate in challenging situations. When you invest in playtime and shared joy, truly, truly invest, hear what I'm saying, invest in playtime. It's an investment. It lays the foundations for a relationship where your child is more willing to listen and comply. Also, play offers opportunities to teach social skills, turn-taking, and emotional regulation in low-stakes environment. Isn't that wonderful? What a great way. And yes, it might be challenging for us. Maybe the game is boring. Maybe they're having a tantrum, but it's a great learning opportunity. It became to the point where my son started saying, "Quit turning this into a learning opportunity, Mom." But yes, all of these are wonderful learning opportunities. So set aside at least 10 to 15 minutes of uninterrupted time daily for one-on-one play with your child, at least 10 to 15 minutes, if not more, depending on their age. Letting them choose the activity. During this time, focus on positive interactions, praise, and laughter. And as your kid gets older, obviously, play, maybe not so much, but the car rides home. Don't just turn on the radio. Don't, look at your phone or have your teen look at their phone, but talk to them about their day. Ask them about their day and try to stay away from how was your day? But maybe one activity I do a lot with my students and my son is high-low wild buffalo is one, or some people call it a rose bud thorn. Those activities ask your child to talk about their high of the day, the low of the day, and something wild of the day. So talk to your child, ask them guided questions, not just an open-ended, how was your day, for the teens. All right, number 8, know your child's patterns. By now, you should probably know them. Children with ADHD and other neurodiversities often follow certain patterns in their behavior, triggered by specific events, environments, or emotions. For example, your child may become more defiant when they're tired, hungry, or transitioning between activities. Understanding these triggers can help you anticipate challenging moments and create strategies to prevent defiance before it happens. Differentiating between defiance and overwhelm is key to knowing when to intervene and how to help your child regain control. If you would like to track the triggers, which I strongly recommend, then I have a trigger tracker form where you can write down what is setting your child off and then start to narrow it down. Is it food? Is it sleep? Is it a certain person or a certain time of day? I highly recommend the trigger tracker sheet. Let me know if you want that. So keep this trigger tracker for at least a week or 2, noting when defiant behavior happens, what preceded it, how your child responded to the interventions you gave, and use this data to create a plan to manage high-risk times of the day. And any of your therapeutic team can help with that. I'd be happy to help also. Please contact me about the trigger tracker and I'd be happy to help. Okay, number 9, investigate underlying causes. Really, what is the true cause? Defiant behavior in children with ADHD can be a sign of frustration, anxiety, or an additional diagnosis, such as oppositional defiant disorder, PDA, or other learning disabilities. It's important to work with specialists, such as your coach here, or if you have a psychologist or other therapists, to understand any underlying causes of defiance. That's what I do as a holistic neurogrowth learning and life success coach, is looking at the holistic picture. What are the possible underlying causes of defiance? What is it? And that trigger tracker really helps. Is it sleep? Is it nutrition? Is it a problem with executive functioning skills? So that's really important to look at those underlying causes. And identifying and addressing coexisting, you might have also heard the word comorbidity conditions, is essential to providing the right support for your child, as defiant behavior may stem from deeper emotional or cognitive issues rather than simple rebellion. So, what I want you to do is seek an evaluation, either from me, the holistic neurogrowth learning success coach, or from another source, your school's diagnostician, psychologist, whoever you trust. Seek that evaluation of your child's defiance. What is the underlying problem or difficulty? And really, the holistic approach is the way to go. I believe in it 180,000%, because as a teacher for many, many years, working with many, many students, I see that there needs to be a bigger picture. It cannot just be one way. It cannot just be one solution or one area that needs to be looked at. It has to be the big picture that needs to be looked at to help your child's defiance. So seek this evaluation of your child's defiance. If it is persistent and it is accompanied by other concerns or behaviors, such as severe mood swings or anxiety, right? We want to look at that whole child approach and see what's causing these areas of concern for you. The results can guide your interventions that address the root causes of the behavior. Don't try to do it alone. You have support, you have help, and there's lots of resources for you. All right, number 10, moving on to our last guideline, our last tip. Number 10, reflect on your own responses. Parenting a child with ADHD is hard. I'm not going to lie. It is hard and exhausting. And you want to cry and you want to give up and you're wondering what you're doing wrong. And I understand all of that. I have been there and I know. So that's why I'm here for you. That's why I'm doing this podcast. That's why I'm reaching out and begging parents to get help, because you do not have to do it alone. There are support groups. There are coaches like me. There are therapists. You do not have to do it alone. It is exhausting, yes. It is trying, yes. But once you figure out the secret code, you are going to be joyful and ecstatic and live a life of peace very, very soon. We just have to get that holistic solution figured out for you. And now, a word from our sponsor. Are you a parent struggling with defiant behavior in a child with ADHD? It can be overwhelming, but there's help. Download our free guide, 10 Essential Strategies for Managing Defiant Kids with ADHD. Inside, you'll find proven techniques to reduce power struggles, build cooperation, and create a calmer home. Ready to make a real change? Get your own copy now and start transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. Download it today at nexus-mastery.com/guidelines. That's nexus-mastery.com/guidelines. The link is also in the show notes. Thank you. Let's get you back to your episode. Your child. So, in moments of frustration, your reactions may be unintentionally rough or aggressive or escalate your behavior, your child's behavior, your spouse's behavior. It could result in not a peaceful home, right? So, reflect on how your behavior, whether it's impatience, yelling, inconsistency, it might be contributing to your child's defiance. Yes, sometimes we have to look at ourselves to see how our child is being defiant. Recognizing and changing those patterns can have a huge impact on your relationship and help de-escalate those horrible confrontations, especially the ones out in public, right? I spoke about that in a previous episode. So seeking support through parent coaching or therapy or working with me with a holistic neurogrowth learning and life success coach can give you tools to manage your responses more effectively. So a tip I have for you is to keep a journal of your reactions to defiant behaviors for a few days. Reflect, kind of like the trigger tracker you're doing for your child. Do a tracker for you. Reflect on how you felt and what you could do differently next time. Try a few mindfulness activities to keep yourself centered during stressful moments. And I will definitely be talking about mindfulness activities as part of this podcast and our holistic approaches. So not just one way, as I said earlier. There's multiple ways that we need to approach the wellness of your child. Okay, I hope those strategies really helped you. I'm going to go on to our fun activities for 6 through 10. And I really want to hear from you and understand if these are helping you and if there's anything else you need support with more urgently. I do also have now Mondays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, that's 5 Pacific and 8 Eastern. I am doing lives. So I'd love for you to join me if you have questions. Also join the Facebook group. That link is in the show notes so that you can be part of our exclusive content that comes out to our NeuroQuirky Facebook group. All right, so now let's talk about some fun activities you can do to tie all of this together and have fun with your child and your teen. So for number 6, be clear about rules and consequences. What about playing a game, right? Games are always filled with rules and consequences, even from Chutes and Ladders, if you guys remember that. You could do a rules and rewards bingo, create a bingo card. So you could create this card, right? And you and your child can play together with different rules or positive behaviors like brush your teeth without being asked or listen the first time. Each time your child follows a rule, they can mark it off. When they get 5 in a row, they win a small reward or whatever you choose to do. Like a family movie it could be, or they get to choose the dessert for the night. So it makes following the rules fun and a game. So definitely let me know if you need help coming up with that little bingo card. I have lots of ideas for that. So a rules and rewards bingo card could be good for number 6. For number 7, playing together. Of course, any play is awesome, but play like Yes Day. Yeah, I'm sure your kids have watched that movie with you, hopefully. Yes Day, you could have a Yes Day or even just Yes 15 minutes, Yes activity, right? And so you could plan a mini adventure day or a mini activity where your child is in charge of choosing the activities. They choose the park or the museum or even set up a backyard treasure hunt. Just spend time genuinely enjoying each other's company, letting your child take the lead helps build the bond, and they'll feel more inclined to cooperate during future moments of discipline because of this strengthened connection. Remember, the whole point of the play activity is to strengthen connections, and you don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want to give them too much sensory overload or any of that. You want to just connect. That's the whole point. So it doesn't have to be something crazy and wild. It can be reading a book together, even choose the book if you want something more calm. All right. 8, getting to know your child's patterns. So you could have a detective journal. You could turn your child into a detective, help them keep a fun detective journal to spot when they feel their best and when they get overwhelmed. Use simple emojis or stickers they can add next to the activities, like a happy face for calm moments and a lightning bolt for stressful ones. Obviously, if your child is older or your teenager, they can write in full sentences and really talk about their emotions. And then you can talk about it together and to understand their patterns. Over time, you can help them see what situations are more challenging and develop strategies together to handle them. So that's 8. Number 9, how about a superhero mind reading? You could play a game where you each pretend to be superheroes and try to read each other's minds and guess how the other is feeling. For example, if they had a rough day, you could say, "I'm guessing you're feeling tired, like a hero who just fought a battle." This playful activity helps them open up about their feelings and helps you understand any underlying causes for defiance. Plus, it teaches them to recognize and name their emotions in a lighthearted way. And with your teen, just listening to them and getting them to open up, it's a skill, yes, and it's hard, I know, but if they know that you're listening, they will definitely be more willing to share and open up, even if it's the smallest emotion that they're naming. That's a win. So yay. And the last fun activity you could do is ask yourself how you're contributing. We talked about a journal earlier, but you could really dedicate a time where you and your child sit together with no agenda. Just short, interrupted block of time to talk or relax with each other. During this time, reflect with them on your responses from the week. Ask, what was a time I handled something that made you feel happy? How about a time that made you frustrated? Something I did as a parent, right? This is really reflecting on you as a parent and how is that working for you? It gives you a chance to share positives and connect while showing that you're also open to growth. So I hope those ideas really helped. I know this podcast went on a little bit longer today, but lots of suggestions and tips and tricks to hopefully help with your defiant child. Please keep your ideas for podcasts coming in. I love to hear from them. And I am just so appreciative of all of you. Please make sure to get this guide in the show notes or at www.nexus-mastery.com/guidelines. Okay. Thank you very much. As always, keep it quirky. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Quirky Nexus. We are so glad you took the time to join us today. I know time is precious, and we are so glad you're here. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. Please don't forget to post your activity using hashtag NeuroNexus. That's NeuroNexus. And of course, all links are in the show notes. And I just really hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, please like and subscribe and share this with a friend. I think this is really good for families that are new to their child being diagnosed with ADHD. And I believe that the tips and tricks and resources I'll be sharing will be very helpful for all families, but especially new families. And finally, I am creating a workshop
coming up to help families with ADHD finding and using a holistic, natural approach in support of a book chapter that I'm writing and articles and magazines that are coming out. But my workshop, I'm so excited about because I can work with you all one on one. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again. And remember, let's keep it quirky. See you next time.